This video is presented by the EA Creator Network. Thank you so much to EA for giving me an early access copy code of The Sims 4 for Rent expansion pack, but let's go ahead and hop into today's video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel today, and we are doing a brand new Sims 4 Create a Sim where I'm making 4 different Sims to introduce the brand new Sims 4 for Rent expansion pack for myself, but also for you all, with a little bit of a deeper meaning of a story through a Let's Play. And I thought, what better way to make a Let's Play is making 4 Sims with very wacky backgrounds, but also kind of see what I can do. And if you see my name floating around the screen, it's because I had a very super early access code of The Sims 4 with the brand new expansion pack, and it's like subject to change, so you'll probably see some videos with my name floating around in the next couple of days, so don't mind it. It'll go away eventually, but for now, this is what we got. So the way I'm introducing this Let's Play is making 4 different Sims, an adult, a child, and 2 elders, because we have a elder Pacific trait called Wise, and also a few aspirations and a lot of new traits that I really want to tie in to this Let's Play that I think is really fun to kind of see what it has to offer. And so I'm currently creating Kai Wakeman, who is a seeker of secrets. He's a bit of a nosy, bookworm, child of the village type of Sim. He grew up born and raised in Tomorang. He never really kind of ventured outside of Tomorang up until he decided to go to university, but his mom and his father was like, hey, son, you should stay here in Tomorang where your family, your friends, your everything is here. And so he was like, okay, whatever, I'll stay here, I'll do everything virtually, and I'll just do that. And he one year decided to go study abroad into Brychester to understand more about his culture, because when he was little he was more of a troublemaker, class clown, didn't feel like he belonged in Tomorang for so long because he felt like an outcast, and he felt like him being here was like a mistake of like living in the world because he just didn't feel like he belonged. His friends thought he was crazy, his parents loved him dearly, he had no siblings, his aunts and uncles passed away when he was young, and so having of no family other than his own parents, it's like, what am I really here for? You know, what was I made for? And I think him moving out of Tomorang to Brychester to kind of understand more of his culture, see new people, see new sights, and make new friends, and hopefully a relationship, gave him the push that he needed. And so he decided to go to Brychester and study language and literature, but that was technically his 3rd and 4th year of university when he decided to study abroad, but his first 2 years was in Tomorang. And he doesn't really have a job right now, but he wants to join the handiness person career because he's very hands-on, very creative, loves getting his hands dirty, he loves gardening, and he just loves seeing how he can make something or making nothing into something. And so when he decided to actually venture off into Brychester, he found someone that really was his true love, and he ended up actually dating somebody at his university house named, I think her name was Margaret, whatever you want to call it, but Margaret was a Sim that was actually at Brychester studying there, studying abroad, who used to live in the world of Mount Komorabi. And I think that's like a really cool world as well, because I feel like Mount Komorabi, Tomorang, and Tartosa, like those worlds are beautiful, have a sense of culture, family, excitement, joy, happiness. I live for those things. But I also love that we are getting more representation in The Sims 4, and Tomorang is inspired by Southeast Asian culture, Thailand, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I think it's like a really cool idea of tying in those storylines into The Sims. But when he met Margot in Brychester, who used to live in Mount Komorabi, he learned that she was unique, a sense of inspiration, sparking new joys of life. And so when they dated, got married, and had a kid named Patience, he knew that he needed to move back to Tomorang to, one, have Patience be introduced to her grandparents, and also have a sense of culture. And Patience was born in Tomorang, and so she has the child of a village aspiration. So does her father, and her grandpa, Ezekiel Wakeman. He's a bit of a Renaissance Sim. He's vegetarian, family orientated, but he's also wise. He loves giving advice. He gave his son, advice. He gave Margot advice. He gives Patience advice. He just is a very wise man. And what's so funny, he was not actually born in he was not born in Tomorang. He was actually born and raised in Tartosa. And he's actually a product of a science baby in Tartosa. So he doesn't really know who his real parents are technically, because he was adopted, moved around, foster home to foster home, up until he got a little bit older and lived by himself as like 17, 18 years old. So when he was born and raised in Tartosa, he definitely enjoyed the value of his family, the memories that he shared with his family, until he met Perla. And Perla was, again, a spark of life, a spark of enjoyment, just really a breath of fresh air, basically. And she was born in Tomorang for the past 76 years. But what's so funny about Mr. Ezekiel here, he's a little bit of a crazy person. Even though he is wise, family-oriented, and vegetarian, he got a degree in economics, and Perla got a degree in history. But when Mr. Ezekiel and Perla, more specifically Ezekiel, met Perla the first year, they dated for about 1 year. He proposed. Perla thought he was whack and crazy for proposing, rejected him. And then 2 years later, Perla proposed to Ezekiel. He accepted. And so Perla was like, you know what? We're 3 years in. Let's get married. So they eloped in Tartosa, where Ezekiel was born, and then eventually moved into Tomorang, where Perla lived. And they actually live in Tomorang in the childhood home where, what's his name? Kai. So they all live in Tomorang in Kai and Perla's childhood home. They built it up when they were, where Perla was born, has lived there for all her life, had her first child, Kai, brought in her grandchild, Patience, and now hasn't really ventured out into other worlds besides Brightchester, and also going to some other worlds here and there on vacation, but that really didn't suit her. So she stayed in Tomorang until she met Ezekiel. But I will say though, with Ezekiel, he's a really cool kid. He's a really cool sim. He loves life. He loves seeing people. He loves seeing the world, and he loves taking photos. He loves gardening. He loves guitar. He loves painting. And I think that's kind of what he enjoys. And like on his time off, he's retired. He wants to become a freelancer writer one day, of writing stories about his adventures, his culture, but also pass down mementos and secrets of what he learned in his life to his child, Kai, and also his grandchild, Patience. And I really love Patience, even though she's a literal child. I think that she has so much to offer. She's a social butterfly. She's a child of the village. She's creative. She loves music. She loves dancing. She loves love. And I think she gets that from her grandmother, Perla, because Perla is generous and wise, but also the child of a village. And even though she was born and raised in Tomorang and has never left Tomorang up until like she joined university to study history, and she still is like a teacher. She's not a student aide. She's a full-on like teacher in Tomorang, teaching different Sims the way of life, history, culture, happiness, and giving advice to anyone that needs it. More specifically, Kai needs it, so does Patience, and so does a few other Sims walking around, not knowing what they do. So Perla is a Sim that I think when I was creating her was just the base game, no custom content, no mods or anything. I think she has like one of those like ideas in her head that it's her way or the highway, but she's willing to change and compromise and help in any way without sacrificing her morals, I guess, or sacrificing her essence, her personality. So she's like giving her everything without exhausting herself, if that makes sense. And so the way I want to make this Let's Play is like kind of like a diary, but more so of like a Dear Me letter to the Sims that live in Tomorang or visiting Tomorang. And it's kind of focusing a lot more on Kai and also Patience and Perla and Ezekiel. So I don't know what to name the Let's Play, but I know how I want to kind of carry it. So I will tie in like a few mods here and there, and also add in all the packs with Seasons, Parenthood, City Living, and I really just want to see everything that it has to offer. See the cross-pack gameplay, maybe adopt a pet or two for Miss Patience or Perla or whoever, because there is some cross-pack gameplay with cats and dogs that I really want to try out. And I wanted to mention that when Kai met Margot, Margot had already purchased and was already a landlord of 2 other properties, one in Willow Creek and one in, I think was Tartosa or some other world that I can't remember. Well, it might have been Mount Komorabi. I think it was Mount Komorabi and Willow Creek. I'm building so many different things that I can't remember at the top of my head, but she owns 2 different properties, so she did. And when she married Kai, Kai owned those lots as well. And when they had Patience, they all moved to Mount Komorabi in that rentable space up until they moved out and Margot died, which was very sad. And then Kai moved in with his parents and Patience moved in with her grandparents. And so now Kai owns 2 properties in Willow Creek, Mount Komorabi, and they also own one, I think, in Tomorang as well. But that's owned by Perla and Ezekiel. More specifically, Perla, because this house was in the family name for so many years that they decided to rent it out to different Sims for a certain amount of days, up until they decided that, you know what, let's just let it be whatever it is. And I think Ezekiel kind of changed Perla's mind and saying, hey, you know, this could be an actual family home for all of us, even generations after us. Maybe even Patience could have it for herself or for whoever. And so Perla decided to take the house back into her name, into the family name, and now it's basically everyone. And so when I make the Let's Play, you will see 1 rental property in Willow Creek, 1 in Mount Komorabi, 1 in Tomorang as well. So 3 different properties, and these 3 properties actually have several different units inside of them, but there's 1 2-story family home in Willow Creek, and then there's 2 units in Tomorang, and then there is another one in, I believe, Mount Komorabi that only has 1 unit. And I'm really excited to kind of really navigate landlordship with Kai and Patience and Ezekiel and Perla, and just really have a lot of fun with the Let's Play, because I really love storytelling and I really love making Let's Plays, but also creating something new that hasn't been done before for myself and just having fun in the process. And so with all that being said, I feel like this Let's Play is going to be fun for me, whether if no one watches it or everyone watches it. I'm making this for myself because I enjoy what I do and I enjoy storytelling and I really enjoy just playing The Sims. But with that being said, as of always, I do hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below as always, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!